Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. So we are up and at 'em pretty early this morning. It's like 6:50. So I am just getting ready to pack up some stuff. I'm gonna drive over to Orlando today. It's about, if there's no traffic, it's like an hour, 10 minutes. Fingers crossed, I probably should be good this morning. On the way back is another story though, but I am headed over to Orlando for Girl Power. So this is a pretty big show here in Florida. It's a pro AM show, so there's gonna be pro bikini and then there's amateur. So it's called Girl Power and it's actually an all girl show. So that's why I'm up pretty early, because I wanna get there pretty early, knowing that when the show starts, like bikini's gonna go on pretty quickly, just because there's not the guys normally who go first at shows. We won't have to deal with that, right? So I'm headed over there and I'm gonna get as much footage as I can for you guys. I promised you guys at the start of this show season that I was gonna try and vlog as many shows as possible, just to kind of take you guys along and show you guys what a show looks like, how it's run, maybe do a little commentary. This is gonna be an exciting show, so I'm gonna actually put the pro bikini list up here. And by the time this video is out, the show will have already happened. But the clear front runner on this list is Ashley Kaltwasser. So she's going to be at the show. Really excited to see her. I love her. I'm going to definitely have to find her and say hi. But she's the clear front runner. In my opinion, she's who I see winning. Unless she shows up like drastically off, I don't see that happening. It's Ashley K. And then there's some other people on the list, like Maya, Allison Testu, Kimber Bonilla. Who else? I'm trying to think of the list off the top of my head because I obviously can't see it. I'll put my predictions below because I do have like a top 5 prediction. So we'll see if it's right. But I do have Ashley K winning. Oh, Yulia is another one I think will be up there in the top call outs. So yeah, we're gonna head over there. I'm packing up my stuff. I'm gonna make my coffee for the road, pack up a meal or two in my bag, and then head on over. Well, I have to get gas first, and then I'm gonna head on over. Alright, say hi to YouTube! Hello! Kimber, how do you feel?
I'm great. Number 4. It's like another weekend.
That's okay, number 4. I like it.
It's lucky.
Gonna win it, and we're excited to see her in person. Alright, we're getting ready for Pro Bikini. Are you excited? I'm excited to see it in person. We got good seats. All right, you guys, so please bear with me. This is just footage from my phone, so it's not the best, but I wanted to get some clips for you guys and just do a quick voiceover. So this is at the very beginning of the pro bikini portion. So what they do is they bring all of the competitors out like this first for comparisons, and then they bring them out to do their individual routines. So actually you can see Ashley K, she is 3rd from the left here. She's wearing red. She is the one who ended up winning the show. Not a huge surprise there. She definitely looked really great. Now, I will say this, from this angle, it does look a little off, just because I was sitting a little bit to the right of center, so you kind of have to take what you see with a grain of salt. But yes, this is the pro level. You can see all these girls have visible glute ham tie-ins, and I feel like you don't typically not see that at the pro level, and if you do, it's a very rare thing. You can see I'm zooming in on Ashley here. So yeah, she ended up winning this show. She did look great. She just has this full round bubbly look to her that it's just, I feel like nothing even compares to it. You can just see how full her glutes are. So moving on, I got a couple of individual routines. So this is actually Allison Testu, and she got 3rd or 4th. I need to double check. I'll put it on the screen at this show. She got 4th place at Wasatch Warrior the week before. Allison has just got a crazy physique. Really crazy physique. I think that if I had to guess where she could work on a bit is just bringing her glutes up. When you look at her compared to the other girls on stage, you can just tell she lags a little bit of like depth in her glutes, and I think that that's where, if she works on that, she'll be an absolute killer on stage, because she's absolutely gorgeous too, and I really loved this look on her with the purple suit as well. And then I did want to get a quick little clip of Noelle here. Again, sorry, my footage is not the best, but
I got a clip of Noelle's routine. She ended up, I believe she got 7th. She has just a great posing routine. I just love how like spicy and sassy she is on stage, but it's not over the top. And she looks great. She's a shorter competitor. I think she's like 5 foot, but she looks great. And she continuously gets usually right around like the end of that first call out mark or first call out range. So yeah, I love her posing routine. So I had to just catch a glimpse of it here. And then at the very end, so I got a clip of this. This is where they call all of the pros back out after they do their individual routines. And this is where you see Sandy calling out the first call out. So as you can see, there are ladies coming out on stage here, and I believe Sandy called out 8. So this is your top 8. And then what she does, brings them all out, compares them, because let me tell you, it's one thing seeing these competitors on stage on their own and their individuals, but the comparisons and just seeing them next to each other is really, really neat, right? And I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of the video when I do my recap, but seeing them compared to each other is extremely cool. So you'll see here in a second, Sandy moves Ashley straight into the middle. No shocker there. So you can see Ashley moves into the middle, and we have Miss Yulia Baba, Maya Astabi, Marie Eve, Chantel, I think her last name's Williams. You can see Noelle on the side, Kimber Bonilla. So this was the first call out line of Allison Testu. So really Sandy just compares them from here, you know, moves them around a little bit, has them turn to the back, turn to the front. So yeah, overall it was just a great show. And I mean, wow, what a great group of ladies. I think there were like 35 in this entire pro show. And as you can see on stage, there were a lot of ladies. So stay tuned and I'll do a little bit more of a recap at the end of this video.
All right, we're double filming. I don't know where to look. All right, Bikini Pro is finished.
Yeah.
What did you think, Savannah?
It was so fun to get to see it in person. It makes me want to compete, but it's really different than the stage shots. Stage shots don't tell the full story.
Oh my gosh.
So
being there in person is so different. And I know, like, I tell people this all the time, but it is so true. And honestly, not only that, but just seeing everybody like next to each other and how they compare, that makes a big difference
it
too.
makes difference when you see the 3D, like how people moved. You can't unsee things. So I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's looking like it's Ashley K's show, which I think we thought about that, or we thought that coming in. Ashley K, Marie Eve, second, which is interesting. She got second at the last class show here. The biggest thing I just noticed with Ashley that really stood out was just like, she's so bubbly. She's got so much muscle, which is funny because like in person, she's very small.
She's tiny,
but then you see her on stage and she just really has that round, full, bubbly muscle that like they want to see. So
it was good to see. Miss Kimber is doing some behind the scenes.
Yep, we're just out here enjoying the weather.
So we'll start tonight.
We're coming
later tonight we're gonna see some finals, and we'll see who the new Girl Power champion is.
Yes, we will. All right, before I make my little road trip home, gotta show you guys this bag. Absolutely love it. I've showed you guys this bag before on my channel. I have this color, which is called oatmeal, and I have it in black. And the nifty part is it has a, if I can get it open, it has a little meal compartment in the front, which is super nice. So I have my meal for the drive home with an ice pack, and boom. So I do have a discount code for this. This bag though, you guys, is so awesome. It has so much room in it. It actually has a laptop part in the back, and then it has like this full big part in the middle. It's so roomy, and I don't know, it's cute. So that is my certified travel anywhere bag. Okay, made it home. Literally just walked in the door, still in my backpack. I was gonna spill it for an energy drink on my way home, just as like a little treat yourself. I don't know, sip on it while I was driving home. But I was like, you know what, screw it. I didn't want to add 10, 15 minutes by getting off at an exit, getting out at a gas station, and getting back on. So that actually wasn't as much traffic as I thought there would be. There was a little bit, but it took me like an hour and a half to get home, like, which is better. Usually it takes like 2 hours to get home from Orlando to Tampa. There's just always traffic from Orlando to Tampa. So overall, I'm gonna put my stuff down. I'm actually probably gonna walk to the store now, because it's still the afternoon, and get an energy drink because I do need some steps. I've been sitting a lot. And then I'm gonna do a little bit more of a recap of the show and tell you guys some of my takeaways, because I feel like every show I go to, it's not that I maybe learn something new. Sometimes I do, but it's like I always just come away from shows with different takeaways. And you know, there are certain things that stand out to me, or just, you know, certain things that validate beliefs that I already had, etc. So I'll share some of those with you guys. But first, I'm gonna unpack or just put my backpack down, get an energy drink, and then I will chat with you guys. Okay, so I just walked and got this ghost flavor, the Phase Pop. Now, is it very smart to be having an energy drink at almost 4 p.m.? Probably not, but it is a Saturday. We're gonna do it because YOLO. So as promised, I wanted to sit down and I wanted to share some of my, I guess, just takeaways and reflections from Girl Power today. So it is, what is the date today? April 27th, I believe. Yeah. So we're still pretty early on in the show season. And, you know, naturally I find that every year I kind of see the same trend that usually earlier on in the season. So like for those of you who are new here, the bodybuilding season tends to kind of pick up around like end of March, right? That's really when you start to see the shows start happening. And so we're still pretty early on in the season. You know, you see a lot more shows starting to happen around the summer time frame. And I find that naturally just earlier on in the season, like in March and April, sometimes these shows are just a little bit smaller in general. So, you know, not that the show was small. I think I talked with Joe Pushkula, the promoter, and he said there were about 70 amateur athletes. Now, granted, this was an all-female show, so that's all female. Now, it didn't seem crazy small. I think it was definitely bigger than the last class show I went to last month, but still relatively a little bit smaller. But overall, a couple things that I wanted to point out. So one just like really random tidbit is suits. So I work with Angel Competition Bikinis, and sometimes I'll get the question of, Lexie, do I need to spend, how much, do I need to spend an arm and a leg for my suit, or can I get away with a little bit more budget-friendly option, or with a little bit more of a budget-friendly option? One thing that was very apparent today was you can definitely tell when somebody is on stage and they're not wearing a fully crystallized suit. Now, the suit price is always going to be dictated by the crystal coverage, right? So suits with more crystals are going to be more than suits with less crystals, right? Now, I thought that, there were a couple instances though today that I saw some suits that were not super crystallized, and it made a difference on stage. I think the best analogy I can kind of give is when you're on stage and you're wearing a really fully crystallized suit, it gives you more of like that 3D dimensional look, right? Not only that, but it glistens a lot more and just pops and shines on stage. Whereas a suit with not a lot of crystal coverage just has more of a 2D effect. And I'm not saying that's going to like lose you a show, but what I will say is, especially if you are a competitor who, is competing at a very, very competitive show, or, you're at nationals, right? Those little details, they matter the more competitive a show is, right? And so, and the way I like to frame it is you would absolutely hate to work your butt off for 20 weeks in a prep to go into a show, and spend not a lot of money on a suit and stick out like a sore thumb on stage, right? Your suit should enhance you on stage. It should complement you, right? And that's another thing I want to talk about really quickly is suit colors. So I generally say the jewel tones, so blues, greens, purples, and sometimes reds tend to be the best on stage and tend to work best for most people. I saw a couple of like pastel colors today. I saw a couple of oranges, and honestly, those are very, very risky colors on stage. And the reason why is it doesn't provide a lot of contrast on stage, right? And so I always kind of like to frame it this way. Your favorite color off stage may not be the best color for your stage suit, right? Like, my favorite color is pink. I would never wear pink on stage. It would not provide enough pop for me on stage. It would, potentially just make me look washed out, right? And that's the issue that you run into when you have these like pastel lighter colors on stage, right? So typically say stick with the jewel tones, and highly recommend getting a fully crystallized suit. There are so many sales that Angel Competition Bikinis has year round. They have their Christmas and July sale. They have their Black Friday sale. They have a lot of marked down suits. You just have to be diligent and check time to time. So that is one observation that I made. Now, the other thing I want to just really talk about briefly is going to be Pro Bikini. So I got some clips and I did a voiceover on those. So now I just want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit, like as a fan, what I noticed, and not only as a fan, but as a coach, like my perspective, what I noticed with the Pro Bikini lineup.
I am actually going to I just pulled up the first call out lineup from the Pro Bikini portion of Girl Power. So pardon the, slightly blurry pixelation, I just downloaded this photo from NPC News Online, and I wanted to do just a brief little summary and kind of show you guys what we're talking about here, because I think it helps to always see the competitors on the screen as I talk about them. So this was the top 8 from Girl Power. So Ashley K right here, where I'm hovering my little cursor over, she was the winner of this show. And then our second place winner was Marie Eve, and she is the one I'm hovering my mouse over here. And then our third place was Chantel Williams right here. And then we have to the right of Ashley K, we have fourth place, and that was Allison Testu. So I just want to briefly talk a little bit about kind of these results really quickly. I could talk for hours and hours about this, but I want to keep this brief and short because I don't want this video to be too long. So first and foremost, I just wanted to comment on, my feedback, and just my, kind of, I was at this show, so I want to tell you guys what I saw. So Ashley K was our winner at the show. I think she was the clear front runner coming into the show. Ashley's feedback specifically, she posted on Instagram after the show and got her feedback. Her feedback was to just come in a little bit tighter. And I agree with that. I think she could have been a little bit tighter, but one of the things that was very apparent and, kind of a, you had to be there moment is, when I saw Ashley pose, she's got so much muscle that whenever she poses and whenever she's moving, literally like nothing is moving, nothing is jiggling, in the sense of she's got so much muscle that like when she turns from her front pose to her back pose, literally nothing, not her glutes, nothing is jiggling, right? And that's something that's really important. When it comes to bikini, I find that, you have to be really careful with your transitions, because if anything is, jiggling, that's not always a good thing, right? So Ashley just really embodies, I think, the bikini criteria quite well here. You can see she's got full round bubbliness to her muscles. In her front pose, she is very balanced from top to bottom. I think that, our second place winner right here, Marie Eve, I think Marie Eve also looked so phenomenal at this show. She was actually at the last class show I was at a month ago, and she got second place at that show as well. But I actually did a comparison of Marie Eve's stage shots last night, just out of curiosity, from Clash to this show, and her glutes, oh my goodness, she brought in a much fuller package from her glutes at this show. So I think she's very close to eventually pulling off a win. So now really quickly, I want to show you guys the back poses. So I'm going to pull up the shot of their back poses. Again, this is the top 8 from Girl Power. So, I think it's very apparent here that Ashley K has just that full round bubbly look to her glutes. And as I mentioned, this was a kind of, you had to be there moment, but Ashley just every movement on stage, like nothing moved. She's solid muscle. She really is. But I could see where her feedback would be to come in a little bit tighter. I actually did talk with her, and I did hear that she thought she was retaining a little bit of water in her lower body. Obviously, she traveled from West Coast to Florida. So from that very dry climate to that very humid climate, there's always the susceptibility to hold a little bit of water. But Marie Eve here, I thought she had a phenomenal package, and her glutes, were night and day different from just a fullness standpoint. From this show to the last class show, she just had so much more pop and depth to her glutes. And, and you can really see top 1, Ashley and Marie Eve too, how just, full their glutes look. And I think something else that's really important to note here is that you can tell that with the top 1 and top 2, that you don't see the etching of their hamstrings. And that is really important in bikini, that you don't want an overly conditioned hamstring in that back pose, right? So what I mean by that is under the tie-in, you want to see enough where you can see the tie-in from the glute to the hamstring, right? But if you see, if you see graininess in the hamstring, if you see a ton of hamstring separation, that is just not bikini, right? It may look cool, but it's not bikini, right? So I feel like Marie Eve, our second place winner, and Ashley K, our first place winner, did a really great job at embodying that. They weren't overly lean, but they had lots of depth to their glutes, really just the whole 3D dimension in their glute. And they both have very full round shoulders, so they just really do embody that hourglass shape from the back. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little screen recording and this, mini recap. As I mentioned, I could talk about this for forever, but for the sake of this video, I wanted to keep it kind of brief, kind of short, kind of sweet.
It's really so interesting seeing these pros being compared side by side to one another though, because I feel like that's really where you start to see, okay, the strengths and the weaknesses of each one, right? Sometimes you see somebody on stage and, or I'll see pros all the time post like their stage pictures, and they'll post what their feedback was on social media, and I'll be like, that's weird. I would have never thought that was their feedback. But then when you put them next to all the other pros, it starts to make a little bit more sense. So
it's always really cool to just see everybody being compared to one another. I love going to shows. I'm a coach, I am an athlete, but I go to shows honestly just as a fan. I'm a fangirl of the sport. I absolutely love it. So last but not least, this is something I'm kind of hesitant to say because I've had a lot of like imposter syndrome. I'll be very vulnerable with you guys about this. I've had a little bit of imposter syndrome towards doing this, but I've recently started doing recaps of shows, of Bikini Pro shows for my clients in our client Facebook group. And a lot of them really have enjoyed the recaps. And I've kind of been hesitant to like do the recaps on Instagram. I don't know. I just have a little bit of this imposter syndrome. But one of my good friends encouraged me to just like see if people would be interested. So if you guys would be interested in like more in-depth recaps of the Bikini Pro shows, let me know, comment below. I feel like I'm kind of nervous saying that, but you know what the heck, I love this sport. I feel like I know what I'm talking about, so why not? So anyways, comment below if that's something you guys would be interested in. As always, I appreciate if you listened this far. Next show recap will be the Pittsburgh Pro, which I am going to in 2 weeks, so that's gonna be a good one, a big one. So I will see you guys there. I will definitely get out a YouTube video before that. But thank you guys for listening this far, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.